You do it on the days when you have time and on the days when you don't. You do it before early flights, before appointments that don't require it, before days where you'll see almost no one and the only mirror you'll look into is your own. You've done it sick, tired, running late, sitting in bad light with a small mirror propped against something that keeps sliding. You've done it in car parks, in office bathrooms, in the 10 minutes between one thing ending and another thing beginning. People who don't understand it call it vanity. People who are close to you have probably asked at least once why you bother, and you've never had an answer that felt completely true. Because the real answer isn't one thing, it's several things layered over each other, and most of them have nothing to do with how you look when you're finished. It starts with the face you put on before you put anything on it, the one that exists in that specific morning moment, bare, unguarded, still carrying the night. Some women are completely comfortable in that face. You are not always one of them, not because you believe your bare face is wrong or insufficient. It's something more particular than that. It's that your bare face in the morning doesn't yet feel like you. It feels like a draft, like a sentence that hasn't finished yet, and makeup for you is the act of completing it, of arriving at the version of your face that feels inhabited, that feels like you showed up. This is the part that gets misread constantly. People assume it's about insecurity, that you can't leave the house without makeup because you don't believe you're enough without it. And for some women, some of the time, that's part of the story. But for most women who do this consistently, insecurity is only a fraction of what's happening. The larger part is something closer to authorship. You are making a decision about how your face meets the world today. That decision is creative and it is personal and it is yours in a way that very few morning decisions are. You don't choose the weather, you don't choose the emails waiting for you, you don't choose what the day is going to ask of you, but you choose this. You choose the exact shade of something, the precise amount of another thing, the version of yourself you're going to send out into all of it. That choice, made deliberately and quietly every morning, is a form of self determination that its most dedicated practitioners rarely articulate out loud but feel completely. There's also the ritual of it, which matters separately from the result. The sequence, the tools, the particular order of steps that you've refined over years until it fits your face and your timing and your mood with an almost uncanny precision. On the mornings when nothing feels manageable, when the week is already heavy before it's properly begun, when anxiety has gotten there ahead of you and settled in, the routine is something to move through, something structured and finite and entirely within your control. You begin at the beginning and you move through the middle and you arrive at the end, and the end looks like a face you recognize, a face that is ready. And sometimes being ready on the outside is the only way to convince yourself that you might be ready on the inside, because makeup does something to your posture that has nothing to do with your spine. When you're wearing it, you take up space differently. You make eye contact a fraction of a second longer. You speak first in situations where you might otherwise have waited. You walk into rooms with a quality of presence that isn't performance exactly, but isn't entirely natural either. It's the product of having chosen yourself this morning, of having spent time on yourself before anyone else could make a claim on that time. That investment, however small in duration, changes the way you move through what comes after it. You arrive at your own day having already done something for yourself, and that changes everything about how the day feels from the inside. Some women use makeup as armor, and they know it. The full face before a difficult conversation, before a presentation, before anything that requires them to be more than they currently feel. There's a specific kind of woman who, in the middle of a period of grief or crisis or profound uncertainty, will do her makeup more carefully than usual, not to hide what she's going through, but to maintain a surface that she still controls in a situation where almost nothing else is controllable. The mascara goes on, the concealer goes on, and the face that looks back from the mirror is one that says, I am still here. I have not disappeared into this. Something in me is still choosing to show up as a person who takes care of herself, even now. There is dignity in that, not denial, dignity. The creative dimension is real and undervalued. Makeup is one of the few art forms available to ordinary daily life that requires no audience, no gallery, no permission, and no particular talent to begin. You can be experimental or minimal, dramatic or barely there, consistent or completely different from one day to the next. You can use your face as a surface for whatever you are feeling that morning, something soft and blurred on the days you want to be gentle, something sharp and precise on the days you want to be unignorable. The face you create is not separate from your identity. It is an expression of it. And the women who do this every day are not covering themselves up. They are, in a very real sense, drawing themselves in. There's a particular relationship that develops between a woman and her mirror over years of this practice. It becomes less about scrutiny and more about conversation. You look, you respond, you adjust. You learn your face the way you learn a language. Not perfectly, not all at once, but with increasing fluency until eventually you understand what it's telling you and you know how to answer. Women who wear makeup daily often have a more intimate relationship with their own face than women who don't. Not because they alter it, but because they pay it sustained, attentive, non-critical attention over long periods of time. That attention accumulates into something resembling acceptance, into knowing. And then there are the days when the makeup is purely and simply for pleasure. When you try a shade you've been curious about, or take 20 minutes longer than usual because you have them and you want to spend them this way. When the ritual expands from necessity into something more like luxury, unhurried, sensory, present. These are the mornings that remind you why you started in the first place, not the early flights or the running late or the propped mirror in bad light, the mornings where the whole thing is just yours, where you are doing something that makes you feel like yourself for reasons that have nothing to do with anyone watching, nothing to do with what comes after, nothing to do with anything except the simple and complete satisfaction of it. People will keep asking why you bother. They will keep implying that the woman underneath the makeup is more real, more honest, more worthy of attention than the one who chooses to show up with intention. But you know something that takes most women years to be able to say plainly. They are the same woman. The makeup doesn't create her. It just lets her arrive on her own terms, in her own time, looking exactly as deliberate as she actually is. You do it on the hard days because it helps. You do it on the good days because it belongs to them. You do it on the ordinary days because ordinary days deserve that kind of attention too, because you deserve that kind of attention, not from anyone else, from yourself first, before the day begins, in the quiet minutes that belong to no one but you. That's not vanity, that's a practice, and you've been faithful to it long enough to know exactly what it gives you, which is why you'll do it again tomorrow.